Hey everyone, welcome, it's Mark here. So a lot of people come to this video and think, what on earth am I talking about? Sexuality can't change. But today I want to talk about how my sexuality as a fluid bisexual person has changed over the course of my life. It's really important for me to open up about this because there are so many people who ask this question: can my sexuality change? Might it change? Do I want it to change? Okay, and I really want us to be open about this so that we can all learn in a really healthy way about real fluidity and the gender sexuality spectrum, rather than becoming victim to toxic narratives. So the first thing to say is that sexuality can change. I mean, bisexuality is the largest group in the LGBT community. We make up over 50%, and most bi people are fluid. So when we say our sexuality can't change, it's not actually true. Bisexuality is a fluid orientation, and many people have natural fluidity. The structures of our society are also set up in a way that means that if we do have some fluidity, we start to worry that our whole lives are going to be ruined. Will we lose our partner? Will we ever find a partner? Yeah? Will we lose our families? Will we lose our community, our space in the straight or the queer community? All of these things are really terrifying, and I experienced them all. So I just want to tell you from my heart, this is what authentically happened with me. So when I was young, growing up, I felt like a little bit different in my personality to the other boys, right? And a lot of people relate to this, I'm sure. And so what happened there was that because of those traits, I was kind of degendered, right? So the other boys called me a girl, right? And they called me feminine, they called me not a man, not one of the lads, all of this kind of language. Okay, and that happened to me when I was very young, still developing my identity and my sexuality. And so what happened then was that when I interacted with girls, I had this incredible sense of not being enough, and I didn't believe that any girl would ever want to connect with me as a masculine being. And so when I didn't believe that I was masculine, or I didn't believe that I was valid or worthy of being with a female, so I didn't feel excited about being with females. Okay? And it was very confusing because on one level I wanted to be, but on the other level I felt that I couldn't. Then the second thing that happened as a result of that was that I had this confusing relationship with other guys, right? So I kind of felt like them, I wanted to be like them, and in many ways I felt like I was, but I also had this attraction as well. Because I had been kind of othered from the boys, I kind of felt like, oh, I want to make that connection again. Right? There was an excitement there. There was a kind of mystique. And so that kind of created a sort of polarity. But what happened was that whenever I would interact with boys or men, once again, it didn't quite feel like it fitted. By the way, if anybody relates with what I'm talking about and would like to come and speak with me, you can click the join button just at the right of this video, or you can come and join our Patreon where you can speak with me, you can speak with other people who get all of this stuff, so we would love to have you. And so what normally happens with people like me is that we get labeled as gay. Okay, so I kind of thought, okay, well, I'm gay, right? I can't connect with women, and I must then connect with men. That must be what it's about, right? Because if you have any attraction to men, then you're gay. And that identity formation kind of solidified again and again and again with the way that society kind of taught me how I was supposed to be. So I felt less and less confident with women. The connection got less and less strong. And I got more and more kind of interested in men in this very kind of intense way, right? Because I just craved that acceptance, that connection, that polarity that had been created in my identity. So then how did it start to change? Well, it started to change because over time I realized that that whole structure of the binary is made up. Okay, so everything that the other boys used to say to me, everything that society said to me about being a man, being masculine, being heterosexual, it's not actually real, okay? And so I started to realize that when they were saying that to me, they were just projecting because they didn't want to seem feminine, right? Whereas they actually have those feminine parts to them as well, okay? And rather than just being like not a man or being other or, you know, being rejected or having this separation between me and other men, I realized that I was actually still a man. Those traits that they othered don't actually have to make me separate from my gender. I'm not less of a man, I'm just a type of man. And so what I began to realize was that, hey, look, I might like the color pink, I might be a bit gentle, I might not like sports, but none of those things degender me. Okay, none of those things make me less of a man. And I kind of realized that when I started to develop physically, and I started to look at my physical body, and I was like, hey, I'm a physically mature man. I have a masculine body, just like other men. So my body is physically capable of giving and receiving pleasure to a woman or to a man. And the spirit that sits within the body is just me, right? There's no gender to it. So I started to see myself less in that binary sense as like a man or a woman, or masculine or feminine, or gay or straight. And I started to see myself just as a person with physical traits and emotional traits. And I started to create a sense of intimacy with other men that was really less based on being different and more based on being the same but different within the same, if that makes sense. So I can be this type of man, you can be that type of man, but we're both men. Okay? And the other thing that happened was that I started to get to know women more. I started to date women more. I started to know women more. And I realized that what women want really isn't that heteromasculine thing that I was taught they want. A lot of you won't believe me when I say this, but please trust me, it is true. Women are so diverse. Okay? There are women who love feminine men. So I started to meet women who really liked me. And what I realized was, okay, what I am, who I am deep inside, that deep, deep sense of the spirit of Mark, of who I am, that's been crushed and bullied and othered and emasculated, that is so beautiful and so attractive to women. And so when that is sitting, okay, all my wonderful parts of my personality, when that is sitting inside this perfectly functional masculine body, which is capable of satisfying a woman or, you know, giving, receiving pleasure to anybody, yeah, I realized, oh my gosh, I'm so attractive as a man. And so I started to discover this incredible polarity when beautiful, amazing, unique women would love and be attracted to my beauty and my uniqueness. And that polarity there started to form. Again, what I had to do was I had to get rid of that alpha, hetero, binary, stupid, toxic image of what a man should be. And once I did that, I started to feel really excited about being with women. My self-esteem skyrocketed. I started to realize that I had so much to give, and that there were women out there who really loved the type of man that I am. Okay, so give up the image of the type of man I thought I should be and really own the type of man, the type of queer masculinity, the type of masculine, the type of man, whatever, the type of person that I am and what I have to give. And so my attractions to women grew massively. And what also happened, funnily enough, was that my attraction to men started to shift as well. They didn't necessarily get less, but they started to change a lot more. So they were less based on shame. And so the types of men and the types of interactions, the way I interacted with the masculine changed again. And the final thing is that I started to meet non-binary people, gender diverse people, agender people, trans people, and also couples and other polyamorous kind of couplings. And I started to realize that, oh my gosh, gender is this huge, beautiful spectrum. And once you let go of that idea that you have to be this or that, I started identifying as non-binary, and I still used he and him, but also they, because I still connect with my masculinity and my masculine body, but my spirit is fluid. And oh my gosh, my sexuality just became so different. If I think about what it was like back then and how shame-based and how unworthy it was and how, it was, and the fantasies that went along with that, just so different to how I feel about it now. I feel so wonderful about my sexuality now. It is so diverse. I feel I can connect with lots of different people. And I hope that in talking about this, you can come to this place as well. Like I said, if you are struggling with your sexuality, it is okay. I am a sexuality coach. This is what I do. If you want to come and have a session with me, I'll put the link below. Please come and join us. Click the join button or join our Patreon. If you can't do any of that, just write in the comments and I will always get back to you. Okay, so you are not alone. Thank you so much for listening. If you would like to find out a little bit more about how I kind of came to this diverse understanding of my sexuality, then check out this video. I will see you again soon. Bye for now.